Hi Sam, it's Matt here. I've got this idea for my upcoming FA series, and I was wondering whether you'd like to write it. And it includes the Cybermen. Sir? You want to include the original Cybermen? What, you mean those classic ones? The original ones? You know, those ones? Don't see why not. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, thanks. Damn it, Moffat! Okay, Matt, just calm down. Look, just because Moffat beat you to one of your ideas doesn't mean he'll do it again. Oh, come on! It's the end of the series. We have two masters, and it involves the Cybermen, the Mondasian Cybermen, and it seems to be more likely the origin story of the Cybermen. You'd better be on to something, Moffat. Let's begin. Let's ride! Hi guys, Matt here, and as you can tell, I'm a lot happy. World Enough and Time, part 1 of the Series 10 finale. Throughout Series 10, I thought there was never going to be an episode which I think was awesome. I never thought there was going to be one that was great. I never thought that there was going to be one episode of Series 10 that I would personally, and I would happily give it a 10 out of 10. But now, an episode written by Stephen Moffat, which is a story which me and so many people were hoping we were never going to get, and for some reason, somehow, this episode has managed to win me. As much as I didn't want it to happen, I just cannot accept the fact that this is amazing. This is a great episode. But let's not waste time. I'm going to give you the good, I'm going to give you the bad, and now wibbly wobbly timey wimey. That was awful. I should be ashamed of myself. Now, before I begin, this is a spoiler review. So for those of you who haven't seen the episode, I really think you should watch it before you watch this review, okay? So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, first the good. I'm going to talk a lot more about Bill in this episode since this is probably her swan song. I mean, there may be some theories that she might make an appearance in next week's episode or maybe the Christmas special, but if this is her last episode of Doctor Who, we might as well give her what we've got. Bill started off pretty good in this episode, commenting Missy about calling them disposals and having a conversation with Missy about the Doctor's name actually being called Doctor Who. Hey man, anything to not reveal the Doctor's name, because if they reveal the Doctor's name then the show is ended, so you can't have a series with the Doctor whatever. It's the moment where Bill gets shot in this episode that I think we can all agree that was a really shocking moment. But I have to say guys, watching that scene, I literally just shouted out, holy shit! And it is a proper blast through the chest. I'm not kidding. You actually see a hole right on the chest. Actually went right through her. Oh my gosh. That is dark. That is really dark. Of course, there's going to be some criticisms about the fact that they had an openly gay character actually get shot in the show. Well, I am aware that the show actually did have an openly gay character actually get killed and die countless times. May I need to remind you of Captain Jack Harkness, the man who never dies, an openly gay character who always dies, and no one seems to complain about that. They even had Yanto Jones died, and what did we get? We got a shrine. I think if Captain Jack and Yanto Jones dying, without anyone complaining, I think Bill might be okay. And it's from then on, Bill becomes all Iron Man all of a sudden. I'm not kidding, when she wakes up, she's got a machine that controls her heart on her chest. When she wakes up, she meets this stranger who was actually a friendly like sort of character, and then something bad happens with the people who have her, which then turn into a robotic being. Is it me or Stephen Moffat been watching a lot of Marvel films recently? I think it's fair to say that this episode is pretty much from Bill's perspective, and for what we go with it, it was actually okay. The scenes when she's walking down the corridor, she's seeing all these patients with bandages wrapped around them. Her scenes with the hobo, they are good. We also get a scene of Bill working in the kitchen, which is probably something we haven't seen throughout the episode. I mean, we've got a glimpse of her serving the chips in the pilot episode, but we haven't actually seen her actually cooking it. We see Bill go from cook to janitor in this episode, which I think is a nice touch for the finale of this series. I don't want to give this away, but I think it was pretty obvious from the promo picture that Bill does become a Cyberman in this episode, and it's nothing original. I mean, Stephen Moffat did something similar with Danny Pink in Dark Water and Death in Heaven, but me personally, I think this one was done a whole lot better. I mean, with Danny Pink, all he did was just sit in the hotel talking to the stranger before he actually pressed the button to be converted, and then next minute we just see him in the cyber suit. I mean, it was sad. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a horrific image to see his face in a Cyberman suit. But here we actually see time pass with Bill in this episode. I mean, it could have been weeks, it could have been months, maybe years. As predictable as it was, knowing that the Cyberman in the door was actually Bill, it was a really well shot scene. But for some reason, it still has the mechanical footsteps. I'm pretty sure the 10th planet didn't have that, but that's just a nitpick. Feeling it was going to be Bill, even from the moment when she started saying, Doctor. I really don't want to say it, but I think I should. But just actually finding out that the Cybermen have got the voice from Bill Potts, as much as it hurts me to say it, but just finding out that the Cyberman's voice, this mechanical, painful voice that we've seen in 10th Planet all the way until now, actually came from Bill Potts. And I hate to say it, but it actually makes sense. It hurts, but it makes sense. The head shape, the size, the hands, and the freaking voice. I know it's sad, but it makes sense. And I don't want it to make sense. But origin story for where the Cyberman came from, where the voice came from. I don't want to say it, but it's actually brilliant. I bet Moffat has been planning this from the very beginning. If that is true, then mission accomplished. You lucky, lucky bastards. Stephen Moffat says this is it for Bill. I doubt it is, but if it is, I just want to say that Bill has been an amazing character in this series. It's been a real change in this show. I know it sounds harsh, but I think it's right for her to die in this episode. I mean, you can't have a series of Who by Chris Chibnall and still have a character from Moffat's series, because that wouldn't be fair for Chibnall. We also need Chibnall to start with something fresh. Pearl Mackie, bless your heart, you've been amazing in this series. Thank you so much. I hope you had a great time, and I wish you all the best of luck in the future. We'll miss you. Let's talk about the Cybermen, because good God, they are freaking terrifying in this episode. They start off as these creepy nurse-looking creatures who walk around. They clearly show them as the Mondasian Cybermen. I actually like that they talk on this little monitor, which is kind of like Stephen Hawking, like, you go, we will help her. She will be fine. We will comfort her. Ha ha ha. That is actually a cool idea, how they actually talk with that gadget which people normally use when they have this disability, they can't speak. They have this little machine do all the talking for them. And with the Mondasian Cyberman with that voice, it actually makes sense. And Nicholas Briggs does the voice of the Cyberman as always in this episode, and to me, it is pitch perfect. It sounds exactly like how they sound in the 10th Planet. And seeing all those patients in a line in the dark room, wrapped in bandages with the blue liquid, really felt that pain. I mean, who knows? Maybe we will become Cybermen in the future. The dialogue, oh my God, the dialogue, what they say. Pain, kill me, tie me. That's what scares me about the Cybermen. Just knowing that these are actually human beings feeling this pain, and the reason they put them in the cyber suits is to cure them, just to free them from all this pain, because it hurts. And one of the reasons I love the Cybermen, we feel their pain because they are us, but in a different casing. I knew this was coming, we all knew this was coming. I did not want this to happen, but I think it should be pointed out, this is the genesis of the Cybermen. I'm not kidding, there's actually a line at the end of the episode that states that this is the genesis of the Cybermen. Fans are now angry that the Big Finish Audio Adventure spare parts is no longer canon. Yeah, I'm not angry about that, I'm just angry that now fans who make all the figure Avengers, all the fan films, can no longer do an origin story of the Cyberman. I hate to say it, but for an origin story of the Cyberman, this is actually pretty good. I actually wanted to hate this episode, but I couldn't, because watching this episode, even though I knew this was the origin story, I can't help but look at this episode and think, that actually happened. I can tell this actually happened. That's how they did. That's how the Cybermen were made. I just cannot escape from that. But then again, I don't think we should be angry for Moffat for ruining everything, because who knows? This might actually be part of the arrival of the Cybermen. Like, this one is chapter 1, spare parts might be chapter 2, and maybe my story, which might come out, might be part 3, and then we can have 10th Planet be the final chapter of the introduction of the Cybermen. As far as scripts goes, this episode does feel like Moffat's writing has really come back. Like, it does have some of its Moffatness that I think we've been missing for so long. It has some quirkiness, but has got some really chilling moments in the hospital, and of course, a very interesting wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey aspect. We find out that the crew are actually on this spaceship next to a black hole. We find out that time is very slow at the top, but much better at the bottom. Like the doctor said, the closer you are to the black hole, time gets slower, but the further away you are, time actually speeds up. And at the bottom of the ship is a dark city. I think it's pretty obvious that the city on their opening poster is Mondas. It's official, that city is Mondas. Tall buildings with smoke everywhere, it's all dark, we've got the bags on people's heads, conversion is permanent. There are people on the street who are sick and are dying and just waiting to be converted. You must evolve to survive, and Project Exodus will begin. This is one big good thing I want to talk about in this video, but I think I'll save it for later on in this video. Now for the wibbly wobbly timey wimey. Missy is good in this episode. I think Missy is a good character. She's bonkers, playful, which I like, but I said it before and I'll say it again, I don't like her as the Master. Michelle Gomez is a great actress, but I love her as Missy, not the Master. Like I said earlier, I do like her moments with Bill commenting on the doctor's name. She also has her one-liners when this blue can comes in and says, "Are you human?" I think I hear her say, "Don't be a bitch." Wow! First we had "oh shit" in Thin Ice, now we've got the word bitch in this episode. Moffat, you know kids are watching, right? I mean, don't stop, I'm just saying. Nardole, again, not given much to do, but he does have his funny moments. Whilst I don't find Matt Lucas as funny in this episode as previous experiences, but to be honest, I'm actually glad he doesn't have that much humour, since this is meant to be a dark, grim story, and adding too much of Matt Lucas' humour might possibly ruin this story. Although I do like this moment when the Doctor is starting to become emotional and Noddle's all like, "Is that an emotion? You've got an emotion. I ought to get a selfie." I guess that was the scene they were filming at Cardiff University. Who knew? Peter Capaldi, man, that guy can act. Throughout the episode, the Doctor believes that he can help Missy change her ways, and there's this nice scene with the Doctor talking about his time with Missy, or when she was the Master. It's nice to see the Doctor talk about his childhood on Gallifrey, which I don't think we've had that in a long time. I mean, we've had glimpses of it in Moffat's series, but not like, you know, too much that sort of links in with the plot of the episode. Come to think of it, I don't think we've had one since, well, the end of time. There were also moments in the episode where he knows that he has gone too far, and for serious this time. He promises that he will not let Bill die, but he still feels ashamed of himself. He runs into that Cyberman and he asks it, "Where is Bill?" I can tell in his eyes that he knew that the Cyberman was Bill. As you can tell, not much to talk about the Doctor and Nardole missing this episode, but then again, this is a setup, so maybe by the time we get to next week's episode, I might have a lot to talk about. Now for the bad. Yes, as good as this episode is, there are some bad. I know some people go crazy about the pre-title sequence before the episode starts, but to be honest, after watching this episode, I think it's unnecessary. Yeah, I know it's short and it's good. It's a great sequence, which is pretty much getting a lot of odes to the 10th planet, that's for sure. Obviously, it's a cold opening sequence to a very cold story, but maybe after watching this episode, I think it's probably unnecessary. In fact, in my opinion, this should be the pre-title sequence for next week's episode, which also makes sense since next week's episode is called The Doctor Falls. I can't stand that title. But I still give it credit for actually getting me hooked into what's going to happen next and for next week's episode, and of course the Christmas special. Obviously this is a setup for next week's episode, and as far as Moffat finale goes, sometimes part 2 destroys part 1. The Blue Man was also a bit of a throwaway character. I think it's pretty obvious he's only there to serve as a plot point of setting Bill up, but I think they could have had him taken out of the episode, or maybe have Bill get attacked or shot in a different way, and it might go on from there. Okay, now that's all out of the way, let's talk about the one good thing about this episode. Here it is. There's this one character which appears throughout the episode from when Bill wakes up. He serves as an assistant or supporter to Bill. At first I thought he was going to be one of those throwaway characters. He's just there for no reason. But as the episode continued, I actually started liking this character. I really love the scenes with Bill and this character. Talking to each other, watching the Doctor, working. He says that Bill is his friend and is like a mother or an aunt, which Bill does say, no. But to me, that was a very heartwarming moment. I actually like that character. But throughout the episode, I've been looking at that guy and I was thinking to myself, I know I've seen him somewhere before. He sounds familiar. He kind of looks familiar. So I know I've seen him somewhere before. I just can't put my finger on it. I've seen him somewhere. It's right at the moment the guy walks into the same scene as Missy's in that I literally paused the episode and said to myself, now it makes sense. Now I know who he is. Now I know what's going to happen. Listen to the music. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? He returns to his British accent and he mentions being a former Prime Minister, and it was at the moment he removes his disguise that I just wanted to stop this episode and just go, Johnson, man, that is classic Master right there. That is what the Master would do. He would be in disguises. He would manipulate people. He leads them into different directions. This is the Master. Hopefully we might find out why he dressed up all that and why he was in disguise. And I can't wait to see what he does next week. I especially can't wait to see him work with Michelle Gomez, because these two look like a pretty good duo. I'll be expecting some Master and Missy fan art out there because I need some right now! But honestly, none of that was actually a surprise at all, because we knew about the Master's return from the very beginning. It's from the spoiler rumour of a week before the series started, the Coming Soon trailer, and the Next Time trailer. I mean, we could have had an epic twist, since armies of ghosts or stolen Earth or even the Pandorica opens. But instead, we get an incredibly executed twist that we already know. But I can forgive the episode just for that. Because man, that scene, the scene with the Master, with Missy, and the Cyber Bill was amazing. This is real, man. I can't believe this is happening. There is no words to describe how awesome this episode is. All the episodes in Series 10, I've never seen an episode that I would want to watch more than 2 times. This episode makes me want to watch it 10 times, maybe 12 times. Yes, it has problems, but if this is what Moffat's been planning all his life, then that man deserves a round of applause. Come on guys, just give him a round of applause. Yes, I know he's giving us some bad stuff, but I have to give him credit for that episode. That episode is worth the price of admission. I'm serious, after watching this, I want to buy myself a 10th Planet DVD right now. I've never bought a DVD of it. I've never even watched clips of it on YouTube or Daily Motion. But after watching this, I'll be charging down to the Forbidden Planet, breaking down DVD stores, busting my way through the Doctor Who experience until I find that DVD. I'm so happy! Damn you, Moffat! Damn you! I came in here ready to hate because I knew this was going to be an origin story of the Cybermen. But after this, I'm like, this is great. Oh man, this is real because I'm so scared, man. I mean, as much as I'm going to like it so much, there's going to be this giant hand that's going to slap me by the time next week comes. Don't do this to me, Moffat. I don't trust you. You gave me the ending shot of a zoomed in close-up of the Mondasian Cyberman, and we see this one shot of Bill tearing up, and then we cut out to see a tear come out of a Mondasian Cyberman, and it's not a black tear, it's not like an oil tear, it's a real tear. And it was at that moment I literally went, I'm never going to get some sleep tonight. I'm just going to stay up all night. I've been acting weirdly after seeing this episode. I've been banging my head on walls. I've been jumping on sofas. I've been dancing to myself. I ran outside my house. I ran across the lane and screaming happily. This episode is just... yes! Should I rate this episode or should I wait until next week? I don't know, since this is the setup for next week's episode. But then again, it might change when the second part comes, and then again, it could be a standalone episode for all we know. And as far as Moffat finales go, they haven't actually been pretty good so far. I mean, we haven't actually had a good Moffat series finale since The Big Bang. I guess I should do what I've been doing with my 2-part reviews. Just give a rating for the part 1 and then do a rating of it for the second part. I can go on how much I love this episode, even despite its problems. This episode was amazing, so for this episode I am happily, and I would be honoured and thrilled to give this episode 10 out of 10. But then again, it might change for next week. We'll see what happens. Be sure to leave a comment, like and share this video, and if you have seen this episode, I'm pretty sure you have, what did you think about it? And if you'd like to see more of my videos, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Let's ride.